Hello everyone. For this video, we are making a pretend donut out of polymer clay. And you can see it's really cute and little. Polymer clay is the oven-baked clay. The brand name is sometimes known as Sculpey. And it's really awesome clay because you can make just about anything with it, and then you can bake it in your oven at home with an adult's help. Okay, and so that's what we're going to make today for this video. You are going to need some clay for the donut part. I like to use kind of a tan or a brown because that's kind of what most donuts look like, but you could really use absolutely any color clay you want. For example, say I used red. I could pretend it's a cherry donut. If I use blue, it could be a blueberry donut. Black, it could be a chocolate donut. You know, you can use just about anything you want. So just because that's what I chose doesn't mean you have to do. Don't tell your parents you have to go to the store and get a different color or something, because you don't. All right. And then you'll need whatever color you choose for your icing. I used pink because I like, my personal favorite donuts are the ones that have the pink icing and the little rainbow sprinkles. I love those donuts. So I chose pink, but again, you could choose any color you want. And then for the sprinkles, I basically got out the 6 rainbow colors: red, purple, blue, even white, because you know sprinkles have the white in it, orange, yellow, and you don't need much. I mean, it just takes teeny. These are actually left over from another project. And so again, you have the tan, or whatever color you choose, and the pink. And we'll make it into a little donut. Okay, when you're done with it, you can get an adult to help you bake it. At the very end of this video, I give you instructions, but just in case you don't want to have to try to fast forward and find it and you're watching it again, you will bake with an adult. Preheat the oven to 275 degrees. Get a cookie sheet. Put foil on it to protect your cookie sheet, because you don't want this clay touching anything you're going to eat. It is not non-toxic, okay? And put it on the baking sheet. You're going to bake it for about 15 minutes. Let it cool. See if it feels hard, like a little rock. If it still feels a little squishy and soft, then you're going to bake it again in increments of 5 minutes, okay? And the way I tell if it's done is first of all, always let it cool first. Always let it cool. Always have an adult helping you, 18 and up, okay? But I do the little fingernail test. And when I poke it with my fingernail, if it kind of gives way and feels a little squishy, I know it needs to bake a little longer. Okay. But as it's cooling off after you bake it, it is going through the process of hardening. So if you just pull it out of the oven and say you even used a fork or something so you don't burn yourself, it's still not going to feel quite hard, because part of the curing process, C-U-R-I-N-G, I believe, is the cooling process. You have to let it go through that. Okay. But again, I explain all that at the end of the video too. So hopefully between the beginning and the end, you and your parents will be set with that. And then of course you could always Google how to bake polymer clay, P-O-L-Y-M-E-R. If the package doesn't say polymer or Sculpey or oven baked clay, then don't bake it. It's probably a different kind of clay. All right. So, and then always, if you're one of my actual students, you can always send me an email. If you're someone that just found this on the internet, ask your art teacher. Okay. All right. So get your stuff together and we'll get started. Okay. So first, for the donut, you need the color for whatever color your actual donut is going to be. And it can be just about any color you want. I typically do kind of a tannish brown, but you could use any color. If you don't have a tannish brown, you could use like white, you could use a cream, you could even take whatever color you want to make it and pretend it's that flavor. Like if it's pink, you could say, oh, this is a strawberry donut. If it's blue, you could say this is a blueberry donut. Whatever color you want to make it. And what I'm doing right here is I'm squishing it and I'm squishing it, because it is really hard right now and really cold. On cold days, it can be a little harder to work with clay because the colder it is, the harder it's going to be. So what I'm doing right now is basically just warming it up and softening it up. Okay. And then now I've got it, starting to get softer. So now I am going to roll it into a ball. You can roll it in between your hands or on a table or a work surface counter. All right. And so I got it into a cute little ball now. So now I'm going to roll it out into a short, chubby snake. You don't want it too long and you don't want it too thin because I'm going to shape this into my donut. And depending on how much clay you're using will really just depend on the size of your donut and how long you need to make it. But you need to make it long enough that you can twist it like this or bend it and it will make the shape of a donut. Obviously, that only looks like half of a donut. And so keep trying just every little bit because you don't want it to get too skinny. If it gets too skinny, it's not going to look like a donut. It's going to look like a Cheerio or something, and you don't want that. All right, so see how I can bend that? And now I'm going to try and keep the shape of that hole. In fact, I'm going to just slide a pencil in here so I don't lose that hole. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to attach end to end here. So I'm trying to keep that shape and smooth it out the best I can. I'm going to take my pencil out so it doesn't distort it too much. And so I'm smoothing it out. Now here, it'll be covered up with icing, so I'll be able to hide that little seal, but here, people would be able to see. So I'm very gently smoothing it out. Very gently, because you don't want to change or lose the shape. Okay. And I accidentally made a little fingernail mark there, so I'm trying to smooth that out the best I can. And again, don't lose the general shape of your donut. And like this side was a little higher than the other. Probably couldn't really see that, so that's why I was kind of squishing it. But again, you don't want to lose the shape. All right, so there's my basic little teeny tiny donut. And now I am ready for some icing. Now, the kind of donuts with pink frosting and sprinkles are my favorite, so I am using pink icing. But you could literally use any color you want for your icing. Just because I'm using pink doesn't mean yours has to be pink. All right, so you don't need as much clay as you did with your donut. You need quite a bit less. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off, I'm using one of my little clay tools to cut off a little chunk. And you can see it compared to my donut. And I'm pretty certain that will be enough. But if it's not for some reason, it's right here. I can always get some more. And same thing as earlier. It's really cold and really hard to bend right now. So I am working with it to clean it up. As your work surface, if it gets dirty, you do want to be careful with lighter and brighter colors because like if there's dirt or marker or anything on here and you roll your clay on it, it's going to get on your clay and then it won't look quite as pretty. So just FYI, that means for your information. I think mine's okay because most of what you're seeing here is Sharpie. Yeah, got a little bit of marker on there, but that's okay. And I'm just trying to make it more pliable, which means soft and squishy. Okay. And then first thing I'm going to do is roll it into a ball again. Okay. Then I'm going to roll it out into a snake again. And it's like I'm making another donut again, but it's going to be a lot skinnier, a little smaller. But I want it about the same, would circumference be the right word, or diameter? But the same size, basically. That'd be something, if you don't know, be something good to look up. I'm going to try to look it up later. All right, so what I want is I want it to go all the way around my donut. And as you can see, it's falling a little short still. And it's going to be quite a bit skinnier, and that's what we want. So don't worry about that. Again, we just want it to be able to go all the way around the top of our donut. Ooh, I think I'm there. All right, so I am kind of mashing it together a little bit, trying to not mess up the roundness of it. Okay, I'm going to place it right on top of my donut, just like that. And we're done. Just kidding. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I want to keep the shape of my donut. I don't want to lose that at all, but I do want to squish the pink down onto it, which can be a little tricky. So you got to do it super gentle so it changes the shape of the pink, but not the donut. If you have your clay tools, I know some of you, if you were in art club last year, you purchased clay tools. These little plastic clay tools come with it, but you can use this to press down on just the pink. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of trying to squish it down and pull the pink icing over to the side of the donut. Because you know, in the donut shop or wherever they're making donuts, they would pour the icing on there. And so of course it would kind of drip onto the side of the donut. So I'm trying to get, and you want it to be kind of uneven, like it's dripping. Now first I'm trying to get rid of this little seam because you would not have that with real icing. And if you were here at our school a few years ago when we did this with Model Magic, this is quite a bit different than that because Model Magic is so soft. All right, so now I'm going to try to do the same with the inside a little bit because I want the icing going down into the middle. And again, you have to be super gentle and super patient. And you can pause and fast forward this video as many times as you need to. You could also start over. That's the good thing with clay is you can squish it up and start over. Now be sure you separate the pink and the brown. All right, hopefully you can see how I'm kind of getting it squished in there into the middle. I'm using this little smooth ball tool. If you don't have any clay tools, you could ask your mom or your dad if you have like a plastic knife or a plastic spoon. Don't go in and use any of your good silverware or anything because you don't want things you eat on and eat with touching this clay. That's why when you bake it in the oven, you don't want it to touch your cookie tray. You want to line it with foil first. See how I'm smoothing that out? Oops, I got some of my brown on there showing, but I have a little more pink left, so I can kind of patch it. So be careful with that. Now, obviously, I wouldn't want to just leave that sitting there like that. Try to smooth it out a little bit. Try to be a little more gentle this time. Maybe that means I should stop while I'm ahead. Gotta smooth that out though so people can't tell I patched it. Although most of the time, things you notice with your art, most other people don't, because they're just, looking at it somewhat briefly and they're not seeing every teeny tiny little imperfection. You are, because you have what you pictured in your mind it would look like, and then you were there when little things like this just happened. But most people, when they look at it later, will have no idea. And look at that, that looks so yummy. So next, so that's my donut and my icing. You could stop there if you wanted, because as you know, some donuts look like that. But next we're going to do some sprinkles. That's why I have my rainbow colors over here on the side ready to go. So that's what we're going to do next. So get any colors that you want to be for your sprinkles. And again, literally any color can do. Okay, so I have my little donut here and I'm ready to do my sprinkles. You just want to get together whatever colors you want for your sprinkles. If you have some clay tools, like this little plastic knife is really good. And I'm going to cut off just teeny tiny little amounts of each color. And I like the donuts that have the little pink icing and the rainbow sprinkles, so that's what I'm trying to recreate here. And you're going to be working on a very teeny tiny scale, meaning size. So it's going to take some patience and some diligence. You try really hard and don't give up. Oop. All right, and like I said, it doesn't take much at all. Okay, so now I'm going to split each of these up into anywhere from 2 to 4 or 3 sections. Like this one, I think I'm going to split it up into 3 just because I had a really small amount. And I'm going to roll it into a teeny, 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 tiny little ball. And then roll it out into a teeny, 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 tiny little snake. And that's even still a little too big. I'm going to cut that in half. And roll that into a little teeny, teeny, tiny little snake. And I'm going to stick it on my little donut. And here's the other one. Let it stick to your finger, like that. And stick it to your donut. And I'll do one more little purple. Let it stick to your finger, if it will. And stick it to your donut. And then I'm just going to keep doing that with every color. So like here's blue. So I'm going to try to get 2 to 3 teeny tiny little blues. So there we go. And the more you do it, you'll get better at it. And the key with this is just for them to not be too big. When they're really big, it looks really fake. All right, I'm going to add one more blue. Maybe it's too much though, so I'm cutting it off. I'm going to stick that blue to what's left, and same with the purple, so I get them out of the way. There we go. And see, those are even probably a little too big, but that's okay. So there's some red. 1, 2, and 3. Put the red away. And again, roll it into little teeny tiny, and try to make them going like in different directions if you can, because they would just sprinkle the sprinkles on. That's what they're called, sprinkles. And they wouldn't all be going the same direction. It's starting to look cute. Now same with my green. So I'm going to fast forward and finish doing that with the rest of my colors, because I think you get the idea. You can hit pause to make your sprinkles, and then we can talk at the end. Okay, and there we go. There's the finished product with our little sprinkles, and I think it turned out really cute. I can't wait to fire it and have it to keep. Firing means that's when you put it in the oven and bake it. If yours is a true polymer clay, it says Sculpey on the package, it says polymer on the package, or it says oven baked clay on the package, then that means you can bake it. If it doesn't, do not bake it, okay? And remember to take a cookie sheet like that you bake cookies on. Well, first of all, get an adult. No kids with the oven. Adult, 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 18 and older, okay? Get a cookie sheet, put foil on it, put your clay on it, preheat your oven to 275 degrees, 275, okay? And then you're going to bake it for about 15 or 20 minutes, and then give it about 10 minutes to cool. And if it still feels soft, put it in for another 5 minutes, and you're going to do it in 5-minute increments until it's hard. But again, once you pull it out of the oven, again, once an adult pulls it out of the oven, you have to let it cool for about 10 minutes before you can touch it. And then what I always do is I take my fingernail and I just kind of touch it to see if the clay kind of gives a little bit, like it's still soft, or if it feels hard like a rock. Once it feels hard like a rock, you know you're done. But don't just put it in the oven and let it bake, 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 because you could burn it, okay? So also your parents could Google how to bake polymer clay. It's Polymer, okay? So, and then of course they could email me if they have any questions, okay? So thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.